Good morning, panel, and I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Would you want to graduate on the price of a lifetime debt? And are you gonna go live paycheck to paying loans and interest? This is the reality that you're gonna be living in if you choose to adopt student loan in Indonesia. This is the flaw of the student loan mechanism in Indonesia. Currently, the status quo calls upon Indonesia's system on helping students is by subsidizing university tuition and university costs. Also, there are alternatives such as KIP or known by Kartu Indonesia Pintar that subsidize the university cost wholly. And also, the status quo is that we do not have student loan in Indonesia. And it's obviously for reasons that I am going to be explaining on later in my speech. The problem on student loan is that it's a lifetime debt. Often, countries that have implemented it, many have shared that they are unable to pay back their debt because the increasing amount of interest that rapidly sits on top of each other year by year. You're gonna take 4 years to graduate, then after that 4 years, the interest since year 1 has built up and it is a problem. And also, the high unemployment rate in Indonesia. If you can't call for a job, then you will never ever going to be able to pay for these loans. And it's a low-wage country. How many years are you gonna be living by having to pay every single cent of your college tuition? Student loan is defined as loan borrowed by the government to students who need to cover their university costs that they cannot cover by themselves. And I would call upon the context of this adoption is Indonesia. Indonesia faces problems such as the decreasing job opportunities. It's a third world country and we are not doing good economically as a country. Even if a country is not doing good economically, then the people are unable to make jobs and money for themselves. So at last, the parameter of this debate is to decide which policy is better. Is it to give them student loan or is it not giving them student loan and prospect of financial security of long-term life ahead? The mechanism of not giving them loans are going to be like so. Instead of giving money or loaning money, the state is better off expanding and subsidizing university tuition and also KIP quota and also to revise the system. Because they are going to graduate and if they have to pay many amounts of debt, it's just not going to be realistic and it's not going to be humane. It calls upon my argument, which is first, giving young people loans that this loan is gonna define their whole future ahead is wrong. As the affirmative team says, if we give them student loan, the public is going to be educated. Well, I call that a false logic. Giving student loans and making them being able to go to university does not equal to the public being educated. Imagine that it's not going to be guaranteed. Imagine the job market, the loan, and if at the end you cannot get a job, it's not guaranteed for you to pay the loan. It's not guaranteed that loans are gonna help you to go to university and being educated. It does not correlate in a straight line. There are many processes behind that. If you get student loans, but you do not do your university task, you do not attend courses, you do not perform well enough in the college and the university, you're not gonna be educated at the end of the day. So it is a false statement. And if the affirmative team says, then it's better to live a life full of debt, but you can go to university. How long are you going to plan to be in debt? Skimming every coupon, saving every cent to pay back the loan, not to mention the interest that keeps piling up year by year. The longer you keep on dragging the student loan, the more burden it is in your life. It will impact students that have received the student's loan to be more psychologically down. They perform less in social context. They are going to be affected by it. They cannot live their life normally. They spend their whole life thinking how to pay the debt. And it's not even insured when they finish university, they will be educated and getting a job. That's why our mechanism is better. By KIP, there's a standardized measure to make sure that students is able to keep up with the university standards. It calls out for motivation from these students to do better ahead. And if a lifetime went by and students cannot pay back, the government will suffer huge loss. Imagine a kid to pay their student loan, it costs 70 million rupiah at minimum. This is a minimum. Then there's 10 students who cannot pay back. Then it's going to be 700 to 1 billion rupiah. And this is going to be a huge loss for the country. The country is not going to benefit. So by giving students loan, we are burdening the country with expectation of giving student loan and also the state budget by allocating more on the state loan. And it is impossible to do so. The evidence is that currently in Indonesia, there are many unemployed graduates. They can pay, but at the end of the day, they're still unemployed. So it's not a guaranteed measure. And like I've said before, there are many alternatives to approach this course. Moving on to my second argument, take a step back and realize that the affirmative argument has a solution, is to fix the system. So we here, as the opposition team, is recognizing the failure in the country's education system. So we call and we reflect on this problem that we are still going to prove that adopting loan is not better. Here is how to improve the country's system. First, reallocating state budget. We realize that the state budget of education is underfunded. So we are going to raise more acknowledgement so that more money can be allocated in the state budget that is going to be given to students who are really going to do serious on their uni. And it's working together with big corporates such as BCA to ensure money and to charge the rich and let the poor go. Be strict with the parameter of the university paying level. And that is why we shall not adopt student loan in Indonesia. Thank you.